You ready? Huge thank you for coming. This is my guy, Ilya. How do you pronounce the last name?
Pozin.
Pozin.
Yeah.
Ilya Pozin. One of my favorite parts of living in Los Angeles, and we go back and forth because we're not very like LA type of guys. We're all New England guys, kind of a little more blue collar.
Same. East Coast.
Yeah. I know you're from Maryland. We'll get into the whole story, but we've gone back and forth for a little while about like, do we want to live in LA? Like, you know, there's certain aspects I love about it, certain aspects not my favorite. But this type of shit, and the podcast was really birthed out of the reality of living here, running into guys like you, a network opportunity here that exists nowhere else. And I can't speak for the whole world, but like as far as in the U.S. and this space and sphere that we're in, I find myself bumping into people like you, and it feeds right into this type of shit. One, I'm interested in personally, but two, I feel like I can funnel it right to my crowd, and I try to give people access to these types of relationships and these types of people. So I'm excited to have you on. Similarly to you, we've probably had a few entrepreneurs, and both of them we had on were you know, from basically came here with nothing on a whim, you know what I mean, and built some incredible shit. And my whole thing with this podcast is called You Never Know, you know what I mean? And the real idea behind it is like, you never really know where life's gonna navigate, you know, where it's gonna take you. When I look at your life on paper, it was like screaming out loud. That's why I hit you. I was like, yo, you gotta come on this podcast, because it just screams the story of what I'm trying to, you know, tell my consumers and my listeners. So basically what I want you to do is kind of you can, however long or so, whatever pace you want to take, kind of walk us through kind of how you've landed here. You can go again at whatever pace you want, and I'll just interject. But kind of want to just shine a light on this aspect of, you know, your story and like coming here and building something that you've done. It's really incredible. Like, just kind of walk us through, and I'll interject. And we'll
quick highlight. So I was born in Russia.
Yes.
My family my parents were both engineers. They, you know, average middle class type family.
Right.
They literally sold everything they had $5,000 in their pocket, and they moved to the U.S. when I was 8. My brother was 3. Really in pursuit of this American dream, a better life for my brother and I.
Right.
And we moved to Maryland. This was like in '91, where a lot of like Jews from Russia got like essentially pushed out.
Right.
You know, and we moved to the U.S. and I didn't know a word of English. I was 8 years old. And I remember like I was like 11 or 12. My parents got me a computer. And back in the day, a computer back then is like, you know, giant keyboard, green screen, and like, you know, you could barely do anything on it.
Right.
But that almost became my best friend, and I grew up with it. And I became very quickly the local computer nerd around like the neighborhood and school and high school and everything else.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's interesting though. At that age, so what were you in middle school?
So we moved here. I think I was in 3rd grade. When I got the computer, I think I was like around like middle school or something like that. Yeah.
So being in middle school, barely, you know, I mean, not knowing anybody.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Not knowing anybody.
Like, and it's hard to make friends when you don't even know how to speak the language. You know what I mean? So, you know, I was learning English. I was, you know, and I was kind of on my own, you know, and that almost became my best friend, you know, in a way. So that's the path. It literally, I still remember, like it was called like an Osborne something. I'm sure it's in like the Smithsonian Museum now.
Wow.
But
that's so interesting to see where your life's gone. It was dictated by those circumstances, which probably sucked at the time. You're
like 2 things. It was that, and my grandfather was a big chess player, so he was like a master in chess, and he taught me chess. So it was like chess and computers, you know. Works really well with girls. And you know, and so that became kind of my life. And then so after I graduated high school, on that same note, I wanted to get the hell out of Maryland. And I went to visit a buddy of mine at Florida State, and the funny
it's a majestic place down there.
You know, and actually going back, let me just tell you, this is an interesting story. So, you know, when you look in your high school like yearbook, first thing you do is you flip to the end and you look at like what pages you're on. You know, I was always on one page, just a page with your photo, and then finally my senior year, I was on, I looked at the back and I was on 3 pages. I'm like, fuck yeah, I finally made it. You know? So I turned to the page, and it's my regular photo. I turned to the other 2 pages, and it's a 2-page fold out, right? Like it's on 2 pages, and it's me in front of a chessboard. So that kind of like explains where
you were that guy.
I was that guy for sure.
But both of those skill sets that you were kind of like not forced into, obviously, like you know, everyone has their own life circumstances, but coming here being subjected to a tough situation, you know what I mean, where it's already hard to navigate relationships at that age. It's a very interesting time. Middle school, you start girls and you know, making friends and what it means to have friendships.
Right,
And those
sports, all that. Never went down that path. It's interesting.
Right.
Yeah. But chess, I think, was like by far the most career building because chess teaches you how to think multiple steps ahead. And anything you do in business and frankly in life, you think multiple steps ahead. So, and the best chess players, what differentiates them is they literally are many, many, many steps ahead, right? So they're already thinking what you're going to say. Well, then I'm going to move this way. You're going to move that way, right? So, and the same thing applies to everyday life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So now, when you go through high school, are you still? I mean, that's your main guy. I watched one podcast. You were talking about like you were the guy. The principal would come on, and be like, Ilya, you know, call
everyone
your name.
Everyone knew I wasn't getting in trouble.
You're going,
like their computer's broken.
You're going. So you became you were a kid, but you were essentially, you know, one of the most skilled computer guys.
And then this was like 99, 2000, and what started to happen are everything started to go online, right? So we went from like AOL to CompuServe to people starting to have websites. And the same people that before called me to like fix their computers or set up their network started asking me for a website. And I don't know how to program. I didn't know like how to design or anything. So I hired a friend that was a programmer, and I hired a friend that was a developer and a designer, and we started a company that later became my first company, and I sold it for
I saw that. So you started a company at what, 16?
17, yeah.
17 years old.
Yeah, that was my first one. Actually, the first one I started technically, I was 16. So I was working at a store called CompUSA. I don't know if you remember that, but it was like before Best Buy. It was focused on just computers, and they're out of business now, like a lot of the retailers are.
Right.
But I worked there, and this guy Tom Antion came in. And he had a piece of paper with a bunch of questions. And he literally went around the store and said, who can answer these questions? And everyone said, go to Ilya, go to Ilya. He came up to me, I answered the questions, and he didn't really care for the answers. But he said, look, I'll double whatever you're making here. Come work for me. And he turned out to be this amazing internet marketer. He taught people internet marketing. He taught people how to start their own business. And when I got to his house, which is where he worked out of, I mean, I thought it was a big scam, but it turned out to be legit. So I got to his house, and he literally said, look, I can hire you as an employee, or I can teach you how to start your own business, and I'll teach you how to pay taxes, and I'll be one of your clients. And literally, I was 15, 16 at that point. Like, I could barely drive. And of course, I said, I want to do my own business. And ever since then, the idea of working for someone completely went out the door, and I became an entrepreneur. So when it came to this website thing, I already knew. I said, look, people are asking me for websites. I don't know how to build them. It doesn't matter, right? I see the opportunity. Let me just hire a friend that's a developer, a friend that's a designer, and let's go to town. Wow. So that's kind of where it started. So and Tom has been my mentor ever, since
I was just going to ask. So this guy moseys into a store you're working. You're working at a computer store.
Yeah.
In Maryland.
In Maryland.
Is he from Maryland?
Yeah. Completely random.
Do you ever like look back? I mean, we'll get to where your life's gone and how things have kind of transpired, but do you look back at these moments and you're like, why? How did that happen?
It's insane.
Why,
if that didn't happen, like who knows where I'd be, right? That's a life-changing moment. Because my parents, like, when they come to the U.S., they're thinking, okay, let me get a good job, a big corporate company, typical 3% a year increase and raise and all that, and they were scared shitless when I went down this entrepreneurial path.
Right.
They
they just had no awareness.
Well, it was risky.
Very risky.
Yeah.
Very risky. Insane. I mean, for people who they took a fucking bigger risk than that coming. Yeah. I mean, did you guys have, like you said, you were kind of, they felt forced out? And then kind of, is that why they came to the U.S.?
Yeah, and like everyone knew that America was the land of opportunity and, better dreams. It's kind of what actually pushed me to LA, to California. When I moved here, I didn't even visit. I literally said, you know what? Something is here. I'm coming here.
Did you feel like you were just drawn here?
Yeah, for sure. I literally didn't even visit the city, and I got on a plane, flew in, found an apartment, and moved.
Wow. So what age? So this guy comes in. You're what? 16 years old?
Yeah, just learn how to drive.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So now, when you go to college, what does your mentor think about that?
So I went to college. I continued running my agency, which is called Ciplex, right? So we built websites, applications, all that. Did online marketing.
You working remotely? So like when you go to college,
so I have a bunch of clients everywhere. I have various designers, developers that I outsource stuff to, in various parts of the world. And going to school full time and running this company.
Are you CEO of that company?
Yeah, it's
so
my company.
Operationally, like how many people did you have working for you?
Probably through college, maybe like 8. It wasn't huge, but after school, I went temporary back to. So my mentor at that time moved to Virginia, and he said, as soon as you're done and you graduate, I have a house for you, and come work for me full time. So he literally bought a house. So I'm living rent free. Moved to Virginia with my girlfriend, and
We're in Virginia.
Virginia Beach. Crazy,
interesting little place, little nook and cranny. We've had some times there. Yeah, because we tore our ass off when we.
Not much to do there.
Yeah, no, but we had some good time. Like, we've been in so many cities and places that, like, like outside of music and like minor league baseball, like I would have never stepped foot in. You know what I mean? Like, these kind
or
of
if you're in the military or something.
Yeah. There's not tons going on there.
Yeah.
Let's not rush by college though.
Yeah. All right. You want to go back to college?
Yeah.
Okay. So I went to Florida State. It's funny. I went to visit a friend of mine, right? And at that point, I think it was like in 2001, and there were like 2 or 3 girls to every guy ratio, and I thought to myself,
that was it?
Computer nerd, chess player.
Boom.
Like, how can I go wrong? I could literally be the last guy out of a bar, and statistically, there's still going to be 3 girls left.
I love that you still were applying your skill set. Like, it was all data. You're just looking at the numbers.
It's all one big math problem. Right?
I love that. So I went to Duke, which was
ACC.
ACC, and we played them in baseball. We'd go down there, man. We went down there. Every time we go down there, we're just like,
it's insane. I mean, I went from literally like computer nerd to like going to one of the biggest social party schools ever, and it's what developed me from that end.
What did you feel like? So I guess my point is this: you had that, breakthrough. I guess even at that age of 16, you're like, I never want to work for anybody, right? I want to, I want to be a business owner, entrepreneur, whatever. Going to college doesn't necessarily coincide with that per se. I guess at that time, a little different. The idea, like I'm someone who went to great colleges, and I went to Duke, then Georgetown grad for a little bit. But like I look back at it now, and just the whole framework of college. We talk about it a bunch on this podcast and have this conversation. But you're I guess when you made that decision, how much of it was it for your parents?
Like 99%. Like, to be honest, I had my own company. I graduated probably
that's what I'm saying.
Being like better off than most other students.
Right.
And I went to a really tough high school. It was like top 20 in the country. A lot of my friends went to like Harvard and Yale. I never got good grades. I didn't do great on my SATs. My GPA was average at best.
Interesting.
Yeah. And in fact, like I got rejected from all the schools. I even got rejected from Florida State. And most people don't know that. So I had to go to Tallahassee Community College for the first semester and then transfer in.
I love it.
And now Florida State's calling me left and right. They made me 30
come
under
give
30.
us a keynote.
Yeah, literally, like they're like, we want to fly you out for games. Let's go like with the president's box.
It's a great fucking takeaway though. Like from this whole situation, that's a great takeaway for anyone listening. Like, I mean, there's multiple, entrepreneurs that sing that song as far as like, hey, I sucked at school, but just the idea that like the cultural evaluations of standards of like measuring how your life's going and where you measure up, and how someone who can't get into can't get into Florida State, you go down and get into community college, make your way in there. Now they're calling you back to come give keynotes to their students 10, 15 years later, whatever it may be. It kind of puts in a nutshell and that's kind of how I feel about college, why I wanted to go down this path a little bit. So that other 1% was for the girls and the 99% was for your parents.
100% right.
Cool. So you go down there, get your way onto the campus.
Yeah.
And while you're there, you're operating a company remotely, more or less.
Yeah.
Are you? What are you studying there?
I went for like the easy A, so computer stuff.
Love it.
IT.
Yeah, and that's playing to your strengths, obviously. So you go 4 full years there.
Oh yeah.
Do you feel like the value of you?
And school was cake for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but like for some reason the education, high school in Maryland was tougher than college in Florida. Not to talk shit about Florida State.
But you're also but you were studying specialized,
but you still have to take regular classes too, like
general curriculum.
Yeah, for sure. But it was just, I felt that it was easier.
Right.
And in fact, my last 2 years, even though I was in school, I decided to do a distance learning, even though I literally was in the town, because I didn't want to go to class.
What does that mean?
So my college offered for that first year, the information systems program was you could do it all online. So the idea of
you were just getting parties.
But the idea of going to class at 8:45 in the morning, I
feel you.
And like as an entrepreneur, I always find myself to be kind of like a rebel. Like I don't like rules,
right?
You know, and so like you're forcing me to do this. Like let me just learn on my own,
right?
And I never saw education like the way that curriculum is done as a good way to build your future. To be honest, you know, like at the end of the day, I can't look back into my education in my high school or my college and say, because of what I learned in that class, I was able to build this company and sell it for blah, blah, blah. Like it's more about like what you learn like when you're out there.
And like you said, you know, you don't like rules. You don't like being told like what to sit here and learn about. You know what I mean? Like the ideology that you're kind of forcing kids to dial in and actually retain knowledge that they're not interested in. It's a slim chance they're going to retain that.
But I also think people learn in different ways, right?
For sure.
Like there's like
sure.
audible, kinetic, or there's like three.
Totally.
Like, and the idea of like listening to a teacher and remembering that information and taking a test, it never worked with me. It's still to this day, I just can't do it.
Right. Interesting. So you go through those 4 years. Do you look back and at least point to the social skills you learned then?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like Florida State helped me like develop socially. I learned how to, you know, communicate with people, just deal with people all around, and became a really good networker. Became really comfortable in, you know, any situation, anyone I meet, and fast forward to the future, that's really the skill set, because I didn't necessarily have hard skills, but what I knew is what I knew, and I knew what I didn't know. And what I became really good at is really good at self-awareness, and had no ego. And even if I didn't know something, it didn't faze me. I didn't go to myself, oh, I have to go learn that. All I knew is I had to go find somebody that knew it, right? And because I was good at communicating and deal with people and like becoming good friends with them, I would bring them in and they would work with me. They become my partners, and then I could build it out. You know, exactly. So that to me is literally the like, you don't have to know shit. You just have to know, like, you have to know like fundamentals how like business works, right? You have to be a really good networker, like be likable, know how to meet people, and literally have amazing self-awareness. And if you're able to accomplish those things, you can do anything.
Wow. Mastermind Alliance. Are you a Think and Grow Rich guy? Have you read that?
I have a little bit.
Yeah. Mastermind, like it just comes up. It comes up in all these conversations, because everyone who has success realizes that you can't you can get in your own way so many times,
but it happens,
especially if you are extremely smart. You know, like the idea of delegating parts of your life and parts of your business to people that you feel like are lesser, and you have that ego of like, oh, I know this better. Like the micromanaging of that.
It was completely the opposite for me, right? Somebody once told me that, look, if you want to make $1 million, right? $1 million breaks out to about $500 an hour. So if you want to make $1 million, which is $500 an hour, you should literally delegate anything that's under that. So if like your bookkeeping is $25 an hour, you shouldn't touch your books, right? If you can get a programmer for $50 an hour, you shouldn't program. Even if you can, you shouldn't, right? If you literally want to climb to that rank, you should literally delegate anything under that and focus on only what your real value is. And if your real value is being able to execute a business and put teams together and like be a CEO, whatever your role is, then that's what you do.
Sheesh, I like it. So now, when you talk about ego, is that something you feel like is that something you learned about the importance of not developing an ego and not putting too much importance on yourself?
I think it came naturally with the self-awareness. I think it's just like, there's no point in trying to tout yourself up and you know, pound your chest, and it's
a rarity though. It's a rarity. Most people actually feels as though, at least maybe culturally,
in LA especially.
Yeah, but I mean, anybody has aspirations feels like they muddy up the idea, and like kind of that. Yes, you need that blind kind of confidence in yourself, and that faith that whatever you're working on, because ideas don't come out fully formed, you know, obviously, like they form and evolve as you put the work in. So I think a lot of people, like, I feel like ego, like so many people kind of go the other way, and not even in an outwardly, you know, way towards other people, but the ego just in their day-to-day lives and their decision making. I see it. I mean, we're in LA, like you said.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's related to like an insecurity, to be honest, and probably like a weaker self-awareness. Because if you, like, I've always been very humble. I've never boasted anything, and just
it's the way to be, baby. It's the way to be.
Just let the results speak for themselves.
Exactly. And like you said, the likability that when you're networking and meeting people, the likability goes so far. The likability goes, it transcends so much more than people know, because just the idea of people like I just want to be around that guy. It's a good dude, like good energy. It opens up, it gets your foot in the door of so many situations that you never even find yourself in. It's just based on, like you said, nothing. You could know nothing, but that overall likability, lack of ego, and that self-awareness, how to handle situations and decision-making can land you in places that, you know, can get you so much further along than someone who's, say, very skilled but not very likable.
Yeah, and I think there's a saying, right? Fake it till you make it, but I think people take that the wrong way, right? And then they feel like they fake it with their ego, but that's just not how you do it.
Dude, I found it in my career. You know, I was telling you a little bit about like just my path, but you know, being a musician and a rapper technically, right? Like it's all about ego. Your bravado, like I got this, I got that, fuck this girl, fuck, you know? And I realized that very early, you know, that fake it till you make it idea, like it's so prevalent in music. Everyone, you know, renting cars and all this bullshit.
It's all over, like, look at social media.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Asking you to do it.
But even before the social media craze and everything, like when I started, I don't even think Instagram was just, you know, just coming out. And I remember having a period of time where I was like, you know, I was starting to get popular and having like people follow, you know, and that idea. And I found myself, I don't even know the year. I don't even know exactly how long it went on, but I remember catching myself being like, am I, you know, like that fake it till you make it. Even just in certain posts or certain things I would say, like I was catching myself, and I was so, in hindsight, I remember looking back like a year, like I got more and more popular the more authentic I became.
Yeah.
And I think the main reason I even had a foot in the door, so I was a baseball player, I was a high level baseball player, and I had a bit of a following from that. And the reason, and when I got injured, there had never been a baseball player making music.
Right.
That was even somewhat acceptable and like cool and good, you know, especially in the hip hop space. So it was a rarity in that case, you know? And I think the combination of how rare it was, but also it was just so authentic. There was nothing that existed like it. I just looked like a baseball player, act like a baseball player, you know, and rap and could rap, you know? So it was like this kind of, that authenticity that shined through made up for the lack of skill or expertise. You know, I'm working on GarageBand in a fucking dorm room, but it was just that likability kind of came through, not faking it till you make it. And then as I accrued a following and started to become like an official musician and started touring, I remember having that breakthrough. I was like, you gotta stay authentic. You gotta stay completely authentic to what you are and what your situation is.
And I think it's different as like a business person, right? Who could be a little bit more behind the scenes versus like an artist who, like for a personal brand is very important to them, right? Because it's not just music; it's how they're perceived. And
it's really half the battle. Like,
So I think it's tough. It's tougher for someone like you because that perception is part of your part of who you are.
I'm talking more mainly like life. You know what I mean? Like at whatever walk of life you're at, the more tuned in and at center with yourself, I think the easier you're able to navigate whatever your path is.
Always be authentic.
Yeah. So getting back, shout out Florida State. Getting through your Florida State experience, you go back to Virginia and link back up with your mentor. Now, the entire time in Florida, when you're in Florida, you guys are tuned in.
We're in touch, you know, but he's doing his own thing. He's running like this internet marketing school, essentially. He has this giant mansion in Virginia Beach, and he brings out students and teaches them internet marketing, how to run their own business. And usually they're not like students that are just average Joes. These are very successful people in their own field, and then he teaches them how to use the internet to either start something new or really boost their business. And
now, is he getting pieces of that?
Sometimes, yeah.
Rightfully so.
He got a big fee and then a percentage of any new revenue that they develop because of the program. So as soon as school was done, he's like, look, move out here. Here's a house. Here's a great salary. It came out there and worked for him for about a year. Actually, what's crazy is right when me and my girlfriend moved in, we moved into this house and we're working at his house. And I got her job there too as like an assistant. So we're both going to his house every single day. We come back one day, back to our house, and the entire second floor is on the first floor. Some pipe burst upstairs in the bathroom. And while we were gone, probably for 8-9 hours,
thank God you guys were in there.
It flooded. And the ceilings all collapsed everywhere. And we're like, shit, well, we can't live here. So we ended up actually moving in with him, which was just crazy, like into this giant mansion, which is fun and interesting at the same time.
Right.
But yeah, we moved in and I continued working for him. And and while I was working for him, I was still running my agency Ciplex on the side, still building websites and apps. He had no problem with that. He's an entrepreneur, and he wanted me to be an entrepreneur, and he knew this eventually I was going to go off on my own.
Right.
But while I was there, SEO was a big thing, search engine optimization, right?
Yeah.
So, and I don't know why, but I found myself optimizing our website for the agency to Los Angeles keywords. So I started to rank for Los Angeles web design, LA web development, LA app development. And it came to a point where, the phone started ringing. It was like 1 call a week, 2 calls a week. And literally got to a point where it was 2 to 3 calls a day. And I couldn't take the business on because they're like, oh, come meet me in the Starbucks in West LA. I'm like, I'm in Virginia. And they're like, hang up the phone because there's so many other companies. And I went to Tom and I said, look, it's about time. I think I have a real opportunity to take this business and really grow it. And he, of course, patted me on the back and said, like, I'm here for you if you need me. And set me free. And that's when I moved to LA. And moved to LA and literally took the business from like, a side gig that was making like under 6 figures to like within, I think the first year or two, we grew it to $5 million a year in revenue, all organically, no outside capital or anything, just from all these leads coming in. And we started doing really good work and referrals.
You credit it mainly to your SEO strategy?
Mostly, yeah. And then executing on the projects and doing really great work.
So you're in Virginia and you're with your girlfriend at the time. What the hell's drawing you to Los Angeles?
I don't know. I think the same thing that like this American dream that drew my parents here is like the California dream. I knew like for web development, right? Like the whole interactive world,
right?
There are really 3 places to go. It's New York, LA, or San Francisco. I didn't think New York. I love New York, but it wasn't like the place where I wanted to live. San Francisco, I always saw as like a big tech bubble. Like once you're there, it's like echo chamber. Like you're like in this. I just something about it came off, closed off from the rest of the world. LA, I saw to be very mainstream, right?
Melting pot
and I don't know, and maybe it was
so
like
you just kind of like created. It's interesting to look back in hindsight. You're kind of like puppeteering your life, like even with your skill set, which is rare. Having your tech insights that you did at the time. What year is this?
Which one? When I moved to LA? 2005.
Well, when you were like kind
2006, yeah.
Yeah, so like obviously the internet is still in a huge, place of evolution.
Yeah.
And using your skill set at the time to kind of puppeteer your life to like land you where you wanted to land.
Yeah.
There's a takeaway from that. You know what I mean? That's a takeaway. That's a very obvious.
But it almost felt unintentional, like almost just organic. I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah, no, it's your intuition.
Yeah.
It's your intuition. Are you? Where are you in the realm of through all this? At any point, are you spiritually tapped in at all? Or are you just kind of living operationally?
My whole thing is I'm a very data driven person, and I live on pattern recognition. Back when, also in high school for a short stint, I worked at Best Buy actually. And this is one thing that made me focus on data. It blew my mind. So on Wednesdays, we had a meeting every Wednesday and we would go over our sales. And we would go over Tuesday's numbers. And the manager of the store would be like, last Tuesday, we did $124,000 in sales. Next week goes, Tuesday, we did $124,000, 300 in sales. And I'm literally, so every single Tuesday, we would do $124,000 in sales within like $500. And back then, you're selling $10 CDs. And I thought to myself, like, how the fuck, with everything that's changed in the world, there's rain outside, it's sunny, it's cloudy. How is it $124,000 every Tuesday? Like, do you know how like statistically how much everything has to perfectly line up to be within the state? How many $10 CDs you have to sell to always be $124,000? And that really like made me realize that the world is way more statistical and a pattern and a math problem than people make it out to be, right?
And that's what the world is. It's a bunch of data. You know what I mean?
It is
like
a bunch of data. And
really
in the same way, I went to college
it.
and it was like a data experiment. It all starts to click, right? And fast forward me moving to LA and building out this agency and having like really good SEO, one thing that started to happen is we started to build a lot of websites and a lot of apps, right? So we would do about 300 to 400 projects a year. So whether you were a dentist, a doctor, a movie theater, a startup, a dating app, whatever the hell it was, I literally ran a business that got so much data. And all this became, so whenever we were building like a dentist website, I ran all the projects. And my interest wasn't like, do I make this blue or red? My interest was, how does a dentist practice work? You know, how does a movie theater business work? Oh, so you have to sell tickets. So we have to bring customers. They have to check out. Oh, they're interested in picking out a seat. Well, this theater, you don't get to pick out a seat. What if we, so I literally started to like get all this pattern, all this data.
You had access.
And it almost became like the Matrix. Like it just like I now people could ask me a question about any kind of business, any industry. And once again, no ego.
Right.
There's a very good chance that I'll pinpoint the accuracy just because of it all becomes like one big math problem.
Crazy.
Yeah. So that was like my next evolution personally. Like, so take self-awareness and then add pattern recognition because of all this experience. And I think that's what allowed me to really build anything. And even when I built Pluto, I know we'll get to that, but that's a TV company, a media company. I don't even watch TV. You know what I mean? Like it was more about pattern recognition.
You learn the market, you understand. And
I just started to understand how businesses work, right? Like a dentist practice is no different than a movie theater and no different than a dating app, right? You have to bring your customer in, you have to perform your service,
right?
You have to bring them back, and you have to continue to market and evolve, right? It literally applies to everything. Even if you're an artist, you gotta make an album. You have to have some hits. You've got to sell seats. You know what I mean? It's all rinse and repeat, and it all it fits into anything. And it's just a mold.
Interesting. So you had that breakthrough, and were your wheels automatically turning for what was next? I mean, so we'll get. Let's hurry along a little bit. So you've. What age are you here when you actually start? Like right when you start kind of doing 300, 400 business, projects a year. You're out in LA for what, a year or
like
two?
I'm probably about like 22, 23. And we like at 23, my business was doing millions of dollars a year in sales.
Wow.
Yeah.
And at that point, have you expanded your, like how many people?
Oh yeah, now we're like 30, 35 people. And the wheels are just turning. It's working, right? And my interest becomes, once again, not even running my own company, but the fact that we get money for working on someone else's business and I get to learn it. This is like way more than
access
education that you get at school. And access, for sure. Like
access.
Start to get hookups everywhere. You're working like I would literally be driving through LA and be like, oh, there's that company we did a website for. There's that company. Like literally we ended up doing a big chunk of the projects. Yeah.
That's cool. So you end up selling that.
Yeah.
For however much, you go on to your next thing, which is Open Me.
Yeah, so I essentially caught the startup bug. We started to do a lot of startups, and we started to make those startups very successful.
Right.
And the idea of working on the next client started to become very tedious, and just every client became the same. So I said I wanted to get out. I brought in a CEO, and the CEO ended up acquiring the company from me. And then ended up starting Open Me completely accidentally. So a buddy of mine owned a bunch of domain names. And I was looking for something to do, and he owned happybirthday.com. And coming from the SEO world, I'm like, I feel like I could do something with that. So let me start like a gifting and greeting card business around Happy Birthday. I partnered with this company called Threadless out of Chicago, which has like the largest design community in the world, 300,000 artists. And I said, look, I can take their designs and turn them into gifts and cards and things like that. And then for the first time ever, I ended up raising outside capital. So I raised about $500,000 for that business.
You did it personally?
I did it personally. I hated that process.
Yeah.
It just, when you're trying to run a business and build a product, and then you're trying to raise capital at the same time, it's almost impossible because both are full-time jobs.
Right.
And you can't like outsource raising capital.
Yeah.
You have to do it yourself because people are investing in you.
Right.
So So while I was raising my capital, like I was also had to have my foot in the business. Was working crazy hours, and you know, and
you started a family at this time too, right?
I did, yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So when you were with this company is when you had your first child?
Yeah.
And like you just said, you were essentially doing 2 full-time jobs at once.
And having a baby,
Which
learning
is a
to change
full-time
diapers,
job.
and yeah.
How the fuck did you...
It was crazy. It definitely is a very...
Like, I can't... I live...
I pushed myself to crazy limits.
Yeah. I mean, your Instagram is Ilya Never Sleeps. Mm-hmm. So you weren't lying.
I felt like it was very appropriate.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, Open Me, I want to have... my grandma used to send me Open Me's all the time.
No way.
Yeah,
that's
for
awesome.
sure. Because like when I first saw that, I was like, yeah, I recognize that. Because when I was at college, or maybe after college, I would, when I left Rhode Island, I'm from Rhode Island. When I left, I kind of never came back outside of just holidays, and I left at 17, never came back really. So she would send me those.
That's awesome. Yeah. I found that business like, so once again, I did no research into like the greeting card space or anything like that. It was more like it fell into my lap because of the domain name. And that category is very tough because in the greeting card space, there's Hallmark and American Greetings. And they literally are a monopoly.
Yeah.
They own everything. And you don't even know that, but you walk into a CVS, like that they have exclusivity either with Hallmark. It's like Pepsi and Coke. Mm-hmm. Like Burger King either has Pepsi or Taco Bell either. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we had to compete against them and we had to acquire customers. Mm-hmm. But these companies had billions of dollars. They could spend $20, $30 acquiring a customer to send a $3 greeting card. I couldn't.
Right.
Because
were you doing anything proprietary there as far as like, were you like, these were digital? These were digital.
We had physical, but we cut it off because it was just too hard to run. But yeah, mostly digital. I came up with a viral idea where we had group cards. So I would send you a birthday card, and then I can invite all your friends to sign it, right? And when your friends signed it, they logged in with Facebook. Mm-hmm. So we got all their information. We figured out who their friends are, and then we started sending them reminders for their friends. And then
you had access to the Facebook data at that time?
Well, back then, like Facebook data was wide open. Wow. So if we had a few million users, we really had like 50, 60 million points of data.
Wow.
Right. So we would start sending reminders to your friends, and then we did a lot of celebrity cards too. So it would be like Betty White's birthday, and then we wanted to raise money for a charity, so everyone started to sign Betty White's cards, and it would be like tens of thousands of people signing the cards. And they all became
now, when you sold that company, your second company, is the data a part of the sell?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. All the data points that we had, because it wasn't even about the greeting cards, it was all about the occasion. And we knew the biggest impulse time when people buy gifts, right? So birthdays, especially, is when people buy gifts without really doing a lot of research.
Yeah, they're in spending mode.
And we knew exactly when those moments happened. So we sold it, and the data was very much a big play.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, company number 3 is the big dog, right?
Yeah.
And I heard the story, but just walk us through, because I think it's very interesting. I think it's a takeaway as how the idea came to you, as far as just to start the Pluto TV idea.
Yeah. So I was sitting with my daughter on my lap, right, and I'm picking out YouTube videos for her on one monitor and working on another monitor, and I find that it's like I'm not really good at it whatsoever, right? So I pick out a video. She watches it for 2 minutes and her attention span goes away. And then I pick another video, it's inappropriate. I shouldn't even be playing that video. And I really looked at myself, and I just learned how to change diapers, and I'm by far...
You're in the trenches. You're in the dad trenches.
Yeah, now I have to be the expert of children's video. It made no sense to me, right? And what was interesting about the internet is everything was about search. But what if I didn't know what I was looking for, right? And that's when it all clicked, because I knew when she was in front of regular TV and watching like Disney Junior or Nick or whatever it was, she could watch for hours.
It was rolling.
But online, somebody had to do all this work.
People want to be fucking, like, we think we want everything. Like, we think we want the choice for everything.
Exactly.
But
there's a paradox.
We want to be curated too.
But if you actually survey people and you say, like, let's say, use music as an example, like, right? We've had literally the choice of any song anytime we want since the days of Napster.
Right.
Like literally.
Right.
Napster, Apple Music, Spotify, anytime,
now more than ever, obviously.
So, but 88% of music consumption today is still people curating to you. It's radio, it's FM, XM, and playlists, right? So even though people think they want this choice, when you actually give them this choice, they don't know how to make it. and they freeze up. They don't want to do the work.
It takes time.
But if you ask somebody, like, do you want somebody to choose for you, or do you want to do it yourself? Everyone would say, I want to do it myself. I want the choice. But in reality, that's not how humans behave, right?
Interesting.
So the concept for Pluto was, let's take the best content online, right, and curate it into channels, right? Because like TV, when you don't know what you want to watch on TV, you literally hit the guide button, you see what's on, and it's limited. It's 8:05 p.m. or whatever time it is, and here's what's on. Right. And here's what's on this channel. You have maybe a choice of like 50 things, 60 things. Right. And maybe if you have 5, 6 favorite channels, it's really only 5 or 6 things. Right. Right. And you come home, you're tired, you put on HDTV or whatever it is that's on the background, MTV, and you just let it run. And I saw that is how people consume content. And online, it made no sense because there was no experience like that whatsoever. Online was everything about search. And look, search is very, very good. On demand is amazing if you know what you're looking for. Right. But it's a horrible experience if you don't know what you're looking for.
Yeah, and it's a rarity to know exactly what you're looking for every time. Like you said, a lot of it, how many, like I saw something like average American watches like 5 hours of TV or content, and
over that,
and it's just like how much of that is actually pointed. I think a lot of it is just impossible.
There's no way there's no way you could pick 5 hours like an average American, as you said, watches about 5 hours of content, video content a day. There's no way you're choosing. The 80 plus % of that is.
Did that go off immediately when you?
So I took a little bit of my money, right, and I hired like a remote engineer and like two remote developers actually, and built a prototype.
So in layman's terms, you create your goal was to have these people curate channels of pointed content, meaning like a theme, like.
So I came up with like channel ideas, like, oh, let's do cat videos, let's do stand-up comedy, let's do news, right? Similar to what TV had, but also some unique stuff that TV didn't have, right? So then, let's say you want to watch stand-up comedy on YouTube, but you don't know which comedian or you don't know which specific video. It's very painful,
right?
But what if we can get a comedian or somebody who knew comedy to make a stand-up comedy channel? And YouTube already tells you what the best videos are. They have the most views, so let's just put them in order. So I built a prototype where I purposely, so we plugged into the YouTube API and we removed the controls. So people couldn't rewind, they couldn't fast forward, right? And I put videos back to back to back, and I forced a TV-like experience where you literally landed into a guide. And if it was 8:05, and at 8:05, if you're halfway through this Bob Saget video, everybody would be halfway through that video. So everybody would watch the same thing at the same time. So very similar to television, it made this like kind of synchronous experience. And people in the beginning were like, if I can watch it from the beginning, why are you forcing it here? Because I didn't have to force it, right? But I essentially made live in a fake way, and it worked. Yeah.
Wow. So how did you know it was working? You started realizing that people were watching, like you could obviously watch the analytics and see people.
We looked at the data. Like at that point, the average person was watching 1.2 videos on YouTube per session. When we put out Pluto, or when I put out Pluto in the beginning, it was literally like 23, 25 videos back to back to back.
Dang, dang, dang.
Yeah. And then I knew like just curation was validated, right? I knew there was something there. The cool thing about building any business online versus like a traditional business is it's very easy to prove something out. If you have an idea, you can literally validate it in probably 2 to 4 weeks before literally investing. I think a lot of people make that mistake. They'll go out there and I have a great idea. I got to trademark it. I got to make a logo. I got to hire an attorney to form a company. It's all fucking wrong. Like you can literally go out there, create an ad on Facebook to like a fake website, create a simple landing page without knowing design or development, just by going to like a landing page maker, see if people click on that ad, right? So your ad is essentially your idea. It's your value proposition. See if people click. If people click, then you know you're onto something. Then see if people, once they land on your website, see if people convert. Right. So let's say you're selling something. Let's say you want to like come up with, some kind of product to sell online. Before you even put it out, you can see if people click, and then you can see if people add it to cart without even building an e-commerce site. You can create a fake cart and then go all the way to like enter your credit card number. And at the end, put up a fake message that says, oh, sorry, we're sold out. But all you're doing in that point is collecting data to see if I actually invested a few months of my time and maybe $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 to turn this into a real business, is it worthwhile? And these days you can literally do that with very little money and very little work.
Interesting. I've never heard that as a proposed idea. It makes sense though.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
You can understand the behavior, and you know if you're onto something.
Yeah, I've definitely had many ideas. Like, just I'm naturally an idea guy that
Right.
I've taken, validated, and they proved to be wrong. That I've completely like shelved.
Just let go.
Yeah, you have to.
So you start what was about a 5-year to right now. This journey with Pluto TV.
Yeah,
it's been about 5 years.
Yeah, we launched in April of 2014.
And when you sold, you weren't even planning on selling, correct?
No. We so the Pluto journey was interesting. So the CEO of Threadless that I partnered with for my last company was moving from Chicago to LA.
Right.
And I kind of cooked up this idea and I showed it to him. He was like, "Yeah, it's too early. I don't want to jump into something right away." And this is a guy named Tom, and he's a very seasoned entrepreneur, very experienced, came from the entertainment world. Has raised a ton of money, had an amazing reputation.
Right.
And one thing I learned, especially in tech, when you're raising capital, your reputation is literally everything. People bet on you. They don't bet on the idea, right? Early on, ideas have very little value. You know, you see a lot of people make that mistake. So I got to get an NDA before I show you this pitch deck. It's bullshit. Like at the same time as you're pitching this concept, so are 8 other people, right? Success is not how good your idea is. It's how good you execute and how good your team is. And if you need capital, you have to have a good reputation, because the only way people give you capital is they bet on you.
Yeah, they feel safe.
And we knew that we had this big media business opportunity, a multi-billion-dollar industry. And so I partnered with Tom. I finally convinced him to be my partner in the company. And I also convinced him to be the CEO of the business, because I knew I wasn't the right person for the job. And
Interesting.
And Tom went out there and he had a few people that just respected him. He was on the board of Trunk Club before, which had a really good exit to Nordstrom, and actually the investor from that company ended up being our lead investor and backed us. And then, you know, once a good VC writes you a check, everyone wants into your company. The tables turn. You literally go from rejection to we want in, and we had so much money flowing at us. We got to pick and choose who we wanted to be in our business.
Right. So when, you know, I don't even know if you can even disclose, but how big was how big was your usership? You had obviously built a huge company, and at this point, I'd listened to one of your other interviews. Had a big company. You had a full-time staff curating, and then also a marketing side. Correct.
Yep.
And you go into Viacom for a content deal, because that's essentially what you guys are in the business of acquiring content, right? Partnering.
Yeah. So Pluto was essentially a curation business in a similar sense, where we partnered with content owners, and we took their content, which is often library content that sits on the shelf and doesn't make money, right? It's content that's no longer on TV or is not on Netflix anymore, right? Like where's Baywatch these days? You know, as a funny example. So, or like American Gladiators, which is literally both of them are now on Pluto.
Classics.
Yeah, and we saw that content owners had a lot of content that was just sitting around. So we took that content, usually on a rev share basis. So we told them that, look, we're going to put advertising around it, and whatever we make, we'll share it with you. Right. And a lot of people were saying no in the beginning, and then eventually those no's turned into yeses, and we started to write bigger and bigger checks, which turned into better and better content, which turned into more and more people viewing our content, more ad revenue. And we created this kind of cycle of like better content, more hours, more people, more revenue, better content, and so forth and so forth. And
growth,
and we just grew that quickly. Yeah.
So you sell when you don't plan to sell.
Yeah.
And you do about, what was the deal for? $340 million deal.
Yeah,
They acquired the entire company, more or less.
Yeah. So very often, people say that companies are bought, they're not sold, and that's very much true, right?
Yeah.
Whenever somebody goes
something's going well, you're not looking to
sell.
Yeah,
if somebody's going to sell, it's usually because something's going bad, or they need to get out for whatever reason, right? So companies definitely, in my view, and I think a lot of people would agree, when there's a good deal out there, companies get bought and not sold. We went to Viacom. We had no intention to sell. We were growing like gangbusters. We were doing incredibly well. We were the leading free TV, and we still are the leading free TV
service.
service.
Free TV.
Yeah. It was all ad supported.
Which is different. Which is, you know what I mean? It's a subscription-based kind of world or sphere, wasn't it?
And when we were raising capital, people were going, "Are you crazy? Like everyone's going subscription, everyone's going on demand, and you guys are going free, and you're making it linear and creating this channel, guys. You're building something that people used 30, 40 years ago. And we stuck to it. And my whole thing was like,
because the data shows you.
Yeah, because people want to be curated to. And free became such a strong value proposition because TV was really expensive. And coincidentally, cord cutting started to happen, right? So people start to cancel their TV because they start to save, wanted to save money. And the idea of a free TV service became a very strong value proposition. So we started to offer, free TV, and we went to Viacom, and we wanted to do a content deal with them. And they said, look, we're not interested in giving you our content, but we are interested in serving our content directly to consumers, and we want to build our own platform. And we feel like you guys built something incredible. We believe in free. We believe in linear. And instead of doing a content deal with you, would you guys be interested in us acquiring you?
Boom, 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 baby.
Yeah.
So obviously that was a lot of the fucking ins and outs of how you've landed here. This is kind of more what I was interested in talking to you about. Now, how old are you right now?
I'm 36.
When this deal happened, it was this year, right?
It was 2019, so it was like March of 2019, literally like less than a year ago.
So what the fuck happened to your life?
It all got flipped, turned upside down.
So, you're obviously on a very successful path up till then, but coming into that kind of cash, you know what I mean? Like that can really, it's as much as it's an amazing thing, there's so much dangers that go into coming here with nothing. And then you 15 years later, however, you came here young. So 35 years old, which is extremely fucking young to have, that type to fall on to that much. One, where, just walk me through the psyche. I don't think anyone listening, nor, I know a handful of guys who, have had similar experiences, and I've picked their brain on it. But it's fascinating to me because we live in a very, in a world very much so driven by, acquiring and acquiring and acquiring and growing and growing and growing. And I have this, I have that, I have, all this culture. And obviously it's a fantasy for so many people. Like, oh, if I just had this much money, I'd be so happy, and I'd do this and I'd do that. So all of a sudden, obviously you probably had you were already wealthy and in the top whatever percentile up to this point. But then when it goes boom like this, speak candidly on what happened to your life and in your head and
I don't think anything clicked in a big way. Like all of a sudden, like holy shit, now I can do X, Y, Z. Maybe it still hasn't even hit me yet in reality, but I think it has, and I think I almost expect it to be here. And I was never at a point where like, oh, I want this, I want that. Like goal setting to me is a very different thing that I think a lot of people do. Like a lot of people set a big goal and then they strive to achieve that goal. I'm more of a believer in every day just doing your fucking best, and like that will naturally bring you the best outcome possible, right? But if I think setting this reality of or this expectation that by so and so I need to sell $1 million worth of whatever. Like at the end of the day, if you break it down, if you just do your best and manage your team the best and hire the best people on a day-to-day basis and more live in the moment, you will sell the most, right? So I think because I didn't have that mindset where like, one day I'll be able to do this.
Right.
When the money hit the bank account, it's not like all of a sudden I started doing those things, I'm not a materialistic person. Like I enjoy the things I spend most of my time with, right? Like we all sleep sometimes, right? Like even though I'm millionaires, but we sleep. And so I like a nice bed. We drive a lot, so I like a nice car.
First thing I got was a nice bed.
Yeah. Like some of the things that I used a lot got upgraded, but I didn't go out there and just start buying a bunch of shit and doing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. And I'm aligned so much with what you're saying about the day to day. Like people ask me my 5-year plan. I don't have one.
When people ask me that question, like I tell them I don't even know what I'm doing next week.
Right.
Like
I love that.
But literally the answer is I'm just doing like live in the moment, and do the best now. Like I have this philosophy that look, we all as human beings, we all strive to be happy, right? Happiness is like we're all in this pursuit of happiness, right?
That's it.
And in my view, happiness is a very simple formula. It's expectations minus reality. So if your expectations are here and then your reality is here, you're going to be very unhappy. Yeah, if you lower your expectations, the reality is here, you're going to be insanely happy. Or if you have no expectations. So I try to live in the mindset of having no to little expectations and then doing my best. And then I know I'm going to be happy because my best is going to create this amazing reality.
It takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of discipline to have that, because you're very, I mean, for lack of a better word, you've been chasing. You're a go-getter. Like since you've been rocking and rolling. So to hear you say, I try to have no to little expectation, and have that formula for happiness. It's so rare, and I think it's so much of what I've been talking about. And as I've gone into this space in my career, I'm really interested in the balance of, because I love capitalism, and I love the idea of waking up and chasing something that I don't yet have, and I feel like it's part of what makes being alive.
Yeah.
But I also I study Taoism and Buddhism, and I love the idea of being free flowing with letting life create your future. You said it in so many words, but all we have is right now. You know what I mean? And if you're constantly looking out the window to tomorrow, the only thing you're doing is hurting your tomorrow.
Yeah, or you're hurting your now.
Well, you're hurting your now. Yeah. Everything's all we have is now.
Yeah.
The past is a memory. Everyone has these figments of what the past was like, but really your perspective's changed. So you're not even remembering it as you would now.
Completely
the future doesn't exist. You're creating it now.
Yeah.
But most people are so worried about the future in their now that they're hurting their future.
But if you just do the best in the moment, then you're going to have the best future. And that's all you need to know. I know from a discipline perspective, it's very hard to be in that perspective. But coming back to self-awareness, I think I found myself to be the most unhappy whenever I have some kind of expectation and something doesn't go my way, even as little as it is. You know what I mean? Like even trying to get friends together for a dinner at 8 o'clock and somebody comes in late, I hate that. And it's like that schedule is forced in you. Oh, it's got to be 8 o'clock. Who's not here? So-and-so's not here. Just start getting, I know it starts to irritate me, right? But if you're able to create, if you're able to get rid of those expectations, then I think a lot of the worries go out the door with it.
So do you study this kind of stuff?
No.
Read about it? Nothing? You just kind of, this is how you've evolved into where Interesting. Yeah. Now you don't even do you ever look at things on a macro scale, like
what?
As far as, just you saying, oh, it's how I'm programmed. Do you ever look at life on a bigger scale as far as kind of trying to understand why and how you are the way and why that guy walked into that store and gave you that offer and just it's such an interesting. I mean, think of just to put it in perspective, and I know your perspective, you've probably put it there a million times, but doing what you've done in your short time here on the fucking earth, but also just coming from a foreign land and building what you've built, it's incredible. It's exceptional. Right. And, for me, you're talking to a jock from New England who never thought about anything on a macro level. I was in my bubble of I'm going to the field, or I'm going to do good in school because I have to. And, and then I want to be a pro baseball player and hook up with the pretty girls and have fun. And this is my life. This is life. And then as you get older into adulthood, it becomes bigger, and I look at things on a bigger scope. And I've had so many breakthroughs in that sense of just whoa, kind of feel like I'm I'm opening up the walls of this very narrow hallway, and I'm seeing it bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm fascinated with talking to successful people, and everyone's wired different. Everyone's different,
right?
But I mean, do you think about life especially after having this amazing, falling into this amazing success, not falling into it, but building it and landing it, and actually, like you said, hitting the account, and you're in this position where 0.00001% of humans, you know, kind of encounter this type of situation. Do you sit down when you're alone and think about that and wonder, and you know, like where's your mind on that?
I think, and it might sound cold, but I think going back to that Best Buy story where every Tuesday it was $124,000. I just feel like the world is one big math problem, and it's just a bunch of patterns that you can't control. They're gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
And going parallel to that, my belief of like just not over managing your future expectations, just doing the best as you can in the moment.
Right.
I think overthinking of what does this mean? Is there a bigger meaning here? It just doesn't kind of click with who I am as a person, because in my belief, it's just ticking, right? And it all eventually, it's like a big puzzle piece, and everything eventually falls into place. I think it's all very complicated, and we're not, as a human species, smart enough to understand it.
For sure.
And everyone strives to understand in different ways, whether it's spirituality or religion or whatever it may be. To me, I've already concluded very, very early on in my life that I believe it's just pattern-based and almost math-based and data-based. That and it doesn't mean like I have like no hope or spirituality or things like that. I do, but at the grand scheme of things, I try not to like attach outcomes or things I do to something that I can't even explain.
Right.
And I need to attach it to something that's a little bit more grounded. And I feel like I'm there, and that's what I attach it to.
Right. Yeah, no, it makes sense to me. And it's again, it's how you're wired. But there's no pattern as to why that guy walked into your life and made that offer.
And who knows what would have happened.
There's no pattern even to you not to you being so gifted at what you're gifted at.
Or me being here and wherever that may lead, right? So it's just...
Right, I get it.
Shit happens.
You try not to even... Because we're actually factually not able to really know what the fuck is going on.
Then I'm chasing...
What the hell are you going to do?
I'm chasing an unknown that's never going to be able to be explained, and it's a waste of time.
Yeah, see, this is how I felt for so long, and I still do. I still do, and I understand that, and I agree. I also just have become a lot more. It's invigorated the way I look at like every day a little, and everybody, you know, like you said, everyone's wired differently, but kind of looking at things, and it's made me more grateful for the things that I can't explain. That, well, how the fuck did this happen?
Yeah,
and there is no answer. I'm not searching for an answer. It's more so just like it's kind of giving me like another second wind of like the excitement of waking up and being grateful for where the fuck, you know.
Well, I'm definitely grateful, and I'm grateful to the people around me. Like I'm grateful to my family for making this move here. Like the first thing that literally I did when I sold the company is I said, look, you guys are retiring early. I'm moving you out to California to be closer to your grandkids, and like I got you a house, I got my dad a car, you know, because he's a car guy, and
I saw that video.
Yeah, like that to me is what it's all about, right? Like they gave up everything for me and my brother, and now that I have an opportunity to give back, that's the first thing I literally.
You said it was the first time you saw your dad cry?
Yeah.
Did you cry?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was insane.
I found myself crying a lot more as I got older. Is that weird?
No. I mean, I'll watch a Disney movie and cry.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
So you're not as cold as you can.
No. I mean,
he's like, just kind of go back to.
But it's in the moment, right? It's in the moment. You're like, you got to find Nemo.
For sure. You got to. Let's take a pee break. I got to pee, and then we'll finish off with some fun stuff. Okay. This has been super informative.
Cool.
Cheers. Yeah.
We'll be right back with You Never Know, You Know What I Mean, right after this urination break.
So what's your car game right now? Like, I know you were talking about materials, not a huge thing for you, but you obviously, I've seen your crib. I haven't been to your crib, but heard it's amazing. How, you know, you share some lady acquaintances, you know, some friends and foes and all types of.
We don't have foes.
No foes, actually. No, I've heard
bros before foes.
Exactly. A lot of, you know, just a lot of friends have been over, and that was. I mean, we got linked. To kind of circle back, we got linked at post show.
Yeah.
Not even really linked. We just kind of like, you know, bumped into each other. You were around, and you know,
I fucked up your beer pong shot.
Man, I was
about
I thriving? Was I
and,
thriving that night?
Yeah, you were. Yeah, you always thrive.
Yeah, I mean, I got to pull my weight. You know, Post, like I always make this claim: we don't lose much at all, but I think Post doesn't get enough credit just for him. People playing against Post, it's like playing against a great defender, because it's like. It's the bright lights. You're intimidating.
Yeah.
He's fucking Michael Jackson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like and I think it's like definitely a factor. It's definitely
100%. I got invited like randomly throw out the first pitch at a Dodgers game. And I'm like, I got this no-brainer. I'm like practicing on the field and like hitting, you know, all the gloves and everything. Just like distance is perfect, everything's perfect. Then we go out there, we start singing the national anthem.
Start getting those
fucking hits me.
You start getting those
shit.
butterflies. Yeah.
But I was fine until that happened. Then I'm running out to the mound, and I barely remember this. I think I was blacked out, and I'm standing on the mound, and then I dribble, like I hit the plate, and you know. But it's crazy because like probably 40, 50 practices in a row was perfect. But once you're out there, and reality hits, and you know something big is looking at you, like your entire perception changes. So I'm sure it's the same with playing against Post.
And that's a different fucking. It's also like, you know, uncharted territory for you. Like you said, you never played sports or what the fuck you're doing.
I can throw a ball though.
You never had like a bunch of people watching you doing athletic activities. So it's interesting. Yeah. But people would be so nervous to do some of the things you do that could go out there and probably throw a strike. You know?
That's natural to them.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
To help to back you a bit though, I get invited to do like first pitch because of my background.
Don't try to trump my awesomeness.
No, I'm not even trumping you. What I'm saying is, for someone who I was a pitcher, like that's what I did, you know. And I went out there and I fucking sucked when I threw a first pitch.
I was like a 50 cent.
No, I just like tried to throw it hard and hadn't thrown and like just like wasn't as good as it should have been. Like,
right.
You know, I was a fucking good pitcher at one point. So it was like an interesting like different feeling of nerves that, like you said, I didn't get nervous until like I walked out there. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Right.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's fun. When did you do that? Recently?
That was like 4 months ago. Yeah. It was so much fun.
So you've been a bit of a jet setter. Like I've met you. We got linked. I think we just started DMing a little bit. That's the amazing part about Instagram. Like we're sitting here and, you know, this we really even had a real...
Did you slide into my DMs or I slid into
Maybe.
yours?
I don't know. I can't remember. My DMs are pretty active. I'm slipping and sliding all over the place.
I'm sure you are.
You know what I mean? We didn't really even have like a real conversation, and we're sitting here having this conversation. It's kind of why I love doing the podcast. Two, like it's an amazing. You know, you're a guy who understands the internet.
It's almost like watching a movie without watching the trailer first. You know.
Yeah, we just jumped right into this, baby. But I was my point was you've been kind of since the acquisition. You know, you got a few cars, got a few, you know, took care of mom and pops. Yeah. And then you've been fucking going and having fun.
A little bit. I mean, like I said, there's a few things. I'm not a materialistic person, but there are a few things that I use a lot that those things I'm going to upgrade. Right. So I love driving.
Dude, you don't have to fucking rationalize it.
But I'm talking about, it's just the reality. Like I've always been a car guy.
Yeah.
I've never had a dream to be like, okay, once I sell my company, I'm going to get a Ferrari. But, you know, when those opportunities became possible, I definitely upgraded the car collection. Like, spent a lot of time in my house. I upgraded the house.
You upgraded Pops, too.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time with my family. I had to upgrade the family, everything, you know. So.
And you moved them out there. They're out here living here.
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
They're in Encino.
Great.
In the valley.
Just enough distance. Just enough distance from Beverly Hills.
Yeah, you got to keep. Like, there has to be like a hill in between us.
I love that, and kind of just been flying around having fun.
I mean, I've always loved to travel.
Spending on experience, not to cut you off. Spending on experience. You're talking to someone who's not a material guy at all. Like, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I had bought a Rolex, a low level like $8,000 watch or whatever, and I literally. It was weird. I looked to my boy. I'd probably had it for about a year. I don't think I ever looked at it once to read the time. Ever.
That makes sense.
And I want to say I never even said it. Or I maybe just said it once and it was wrong.
The date's wrong. For sure.
I didn't give a fuck. And I was like, I had kind of gotten into this. I really had gotten captivated by some of the stuff I was reading and learning about, like dismantling the ego and, prioritizing what's really important, and like I found alignments with a lot of the stuff where I realized that I was doing certain things, even just certain actions, even saying certain things, pointing, trying to, hey, look at me, you know, like, and I turned to my boy and I was like, I wear this Rolex so like people know I'm like doing well, and to a certain extent, you know what I mean? Not authentic, and like I'm just like, to your point, I'm not a watch guy. I don't give a fuck. Now, I do appreciate, as I've, you know, my network's expanded, I meet more and more people of wealth and who have acquired these things, and I get it. It's cool. And but for me personally, like I said that to my boy, and then 2 days later, I mean, we have a lot of parties here and like kickbacks and things. We had a late night, and for whatever reason, we ended up playing like high stakes horse.
High stakes horse.
Like we got a fucking little hoop out there. And we were playing high stakes horse like 6 in the morning.
Right.
I took the watch off. This was like a few days after I said this to my boy. I took the watch off. I was fucking blacked out drunk. And my boy, I wake up the next day, he's like, I got bad news. Your Rolex was ran over last night.
No shit.
Yeah, just ran over in the middle of the street. But I looked at it as like an omen. I was like, that's so weird. I just said that to my other boy. I just said this is so stupid. Like, this is for other people. It's not for me. And I looked at it as an omen. But kind of got a little sidetracked, but my point is, like, everyone has their things. I spend on experience.
I agree with you 100%.
And I spend on convenience. Yeah. You know, I love convenience.
Yeah.
And I would love to be able to fly my family out here whenever on a jet and be able to do that and make it easy for them and make it easy for us to hop and go do that. I love the aspirations. I have these aspirations for acquiring great wealth, but at the same time, I'm walking that line of like realizing that it's not why we're here. It's not what my life's pointed at. You know what I mean? It's kind of this compassionate capitalism, I like to kind of call it. But experience is my main thing, and it seems like you are too. You know, like just knowing you for the brief time that I've known you and following.
Well, for sure. I mean, I think like looking back on your memories and what you remember where you've been, like who you've been there with. You don't remember like the phone you had 6 years ago, and none of that shit matters, right? So for me, experiences are very important, but being an entrepreneur, and literally like since 16, I have worked my ass off nonstop. I'm talking about like 80, 90 hour weeks. I remember even when I went on my honeymoon, I was working literally the whole time. I didn't have a choice, you know what I mean? Because like when you're running a company and you have 30, 40 employees, all of those employees, like they're like your kids, they depend on you. You can't, there's no pause, there's no break. So I felt like I literally have never taken a proper vacation. So one of the first things I did when we sold Pluto is in June, I took a month off. And I went around. For the first time like ever. For the first time literally ever. I went around like all the places I wanted to go, all around the world. Literally took a trip around the world, and I didn't do one email. And that was the craziest shit to me.
It was invigorating? Did you just feel great? Or were you like
worried?
No,
it was so amazing. It was just so amazing. And I didn't even, I love that. I never knew what it was because I never have done that before. So, but that also made me appreciate the world a lot more. And I love other cultures, and I love to see other places and create these memories and experiences and be able to take friends along with you that aren't as privileged and be able to like, kind of give ends to your friends, and I love that.
That's a bar, ends to your friends. That's
and
hilarious.
It feels stupendous.
Yeah.
Somebody already wrote that one, but
I know.
Yeah.
What I want to talk about, like, I want to touch on this a little bit because you kind of went where I wanted to go, and we talked about it a little bit out there. It's to do what you've done, and just get to where you've gotten. There's just sacrifice, and I think at no matter what sphere you're in, if you're going to climb those ranks and do things that others, most others haven't achieved, it's hard for those people, for people who haven't necessarily gotten there yet or ever experienced that, to understand the level of sacrifice it takes. Like you were just saying, you're working on your fucking honeymoon. You didn't have a choice because there's 40 other human beings that, put their lives, more or less invested their lives and their time into the company that you've built, and you're, you know, at the head of it. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's hard to quantify, you know, unless you're that person, you're you, and you go through that, how hard it is to balance a personal. You made a really cool comment out there about, you know, you met your now ex-wife at Florida State.
Yeah.
You guys were best friends. And going through the successes and all, you know, obviously I'm sure there was turmoils and all, as much as this you've fast-tracked to success, there's been so many fucking hard, sleepless nights and hard decisions. Unbelievable costs. And everyone who's ever sat here, athlete, artist, entrepreneur, whoever it may be, sings the same song. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, the level of sacrifice. So many times my boys were going and doing this, my girlfriend was going and doing that. I just fucking couldn't. I had to be in the gym. I had to do this, that. You know, and it's a story it's a picture I'm trying to paint with these conversations. And I want you to touch on a little bit, because you said it out there and it like struck a chord with me, because I went through a breakup, and I wasn't married, you know, but I come from a family where my mom and dad are still together. And, you know, me and my girlfriend of 4 years, I was never in a relationship, always a playboy, like always just a wild motherfucker. Come here, get into that relationship, and had all these, the word you said, expectations. We, you know, oh, we're going to be together, we're going to get married, we're going to have a kid, we're going to be together. And you look at yourself, because of those expectations, you look at yourself and you're like, I failed. And it can bother you. It can impact the rest of your life. It can impact all the other elements of your life if, you know, you let these expectations kind of, you know, haunt the situation you find yourself in. And you articulated it perfectly out there, but I wanted you to touch on it and just to shine a light on, like, look, this is what they're not necessarily that there's always going to be negative things happen, but success comes at an extreme cost.
For sure.
At any level, you know, and I like the way you had put it, but just touching on where, and then also like where you said you landed now, you just feel like, although it was really hard and turbulent, you know, even for you mentally, who seems to be you're very straight and narrow, rock solid mentally in a lot of ways, this was one of those things that kind of created that. But now you look back and you're like, thank God, you know, you're thankful that you were able to.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think in reality, I had this expectation that I'm married, I'm going to be married forever, I'm going to focus on my work, and she's going to focus on the kids, you know, and that's the way it's going to go. And whenever the marriage started to get, you know, a little bit more rocky, you know, basically what happened is exactly what you said. Like, sacrifices were made. I focused on my business, and she focused on the kids, and we didn't really, we focused less and less on each other. Yeah, and you know, apart. We were best friends when we started, and we luckily, and I know a lot of like divorces don't end up this way, but we are best friends now.
That's awesome.
And we're very close, and it's obviously amazing for the kids. But I definitely went through a period when all this was happening where I was kicking myself, and I felt like I was a failure, because in my mind, I had the expectations that, you know, this was set. We're going to be married forever. This is the right thing. I don't believe in divorce.
You don't get divorced.
You don't get divorced. That's failure, blah, blah, blah. And I wish I never made those expectations, because at the end of the day, you just want to be happy. You want your family to be happy. You want your kids to be happy. And that's key. And you know, looking back now, everyone's way happier than they were before, right? Because there's a lot of tension. Your kids feel that. Your kids see it. Yeah. Now, me and my ex, I even hate using the word ex. She's literally
a huge part of your life,
my best friend, and her family, like, she is always going to be in my life. The kids are way happier. You know, both of us are way happier, and I think what I would do if I do it all over again is not have those expectations, like, I have to be married forever. If something happens, it's failure. And, you know, and
it's societal. It is. It's a societal thing. It is.
And my biggest worry was, oh my God, I'm going to be the guy that's getting a divorce. This is going to fuck up my kids. And, like, you know, like, going through all that, and you realize it, like, when you're going through this, like, more than half of everyone is divorced. But it turned out, when we had this conversation with our kids, they're like, oh yeah, it's like this friend and this friend and this friend. They already had a shitload of friends that were like in the same boat. So it was a lot easier than you think it is, and you build up this crazy mindset like, shit, here we go. You know? So looking back, I wish I kind of did it with a more level head and didn't have those expectations and live in the same way that philosophically I always live in everything else. And remove that burden.
Wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't resonate more with me. And I wasn't my sister, you know, went through a similar thing, and we're just from a family in a small town. Like, you have these pressures, and I feel like a lot of shit in life in general is this, these people, everybody has, you know, their own kind of universe that they're seeing, and their mind is kind of depicting. And you have all these man-made, and when I say man-made, they're your constructs. Whether you're programmed by your parents that way, you're programmed by your neighborhood, your teacher, whoever, all these things that make you see things in a certain scope.
Right.
And it's like, dude, it's a construct that lives in your head. You know what I mean? And it's like, once you have that breakthrough, it's really liberating.
And those are those expectations, like
exactly,
and they are those goals and aspirations. And I have to be this, like
exactly.
The second you're able to, and I know it's easier said than done, but if you're able to remove them, I just feel like you become a happier person.
Right. Exactly. I guess now a good way to end this would be, you know, like I said, not many people listening can relate to, you know, the financial freedom that you're now experiencing. What's getting you out of bed? What's exciting for you? You know, we talked about it a little bit out there, but you know, it's hard. You know, we've talked about, like, if we were to just land on X amount of money, one, what would you do? Two, like, what, you know, are you revved up, ready to, when you wake up, are you thinking in a business mind state even still? Or are you like, yo, what am I trying to experience new things? What is it? You know?
I think, so the hustle in me will always exist, right? I don't think, in my mind, and once again, maybe this is an expectation that I need to remove, but in my mind, the idea of working in a 9-to-5 job again is something that I feel like is removed, and I don't have to.
Right.
But the idea that I'm just going to do nothing, there's just no way. Right. There's no way. And I always come up with stuff. I always meet amazing people. I think the caliber of people that I'm meeting now has way leveled up, right? So, so now I could do bigger things. I could do better things. I have access now to things I didn't have before. So now my ideas are turning, but it's no longer like, let's build this little app. It's now like, can we do a bigger thing? Can I get into another category?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want people to look at me as a tech guy. You know, I'm a businessman. I use tech. Tech to me was a tool. Tech was just how I accomplished my business. Like, if I wanted to become a dentist, I could become or I wanted to run a successful dentist practice, I could do it. I just have to hire a really good dentist, but I know how to execute the business side. It doesn't matter what it is. Right. You know, so there are things now, I've got a bunch of things in the oven. There are a lot of things that are non-tech that I'm exploring. The idea of going outside of, like, my comfort zone is what excites me. Yeah. I don't want to do what I've already done, what I already know how to do. Right. It's not like college where I'm going to go take computers because I want an easy A. I did that because I didn't really care to go through college. Right. But now I want to, I want to climb further, and I want to develop further. And to me, that's not necessarily just, like, I think money is just an outcome. Right. That's not the goal. Like, I want to do cool shit. I want to, like, plant a flag in a bunch of places on this planet. And how I get there is, now I have access to a lot of amazing people. I know how to identify those amazing people. I know how to build those teams together, and I know how to execute the business side. So I'm hoping that it goes into a bunch of other categories that I've never been in before, and into lands that have been completely uncharted by me. I want to do shit I've never even thought to go down, you know?
It's a great way to be. Yeah. It's a great way to feel. And it's just a great vantage point to be in, you know what I mean? It's
and once again, in the same way that like, I feel amazing inside when I help out my family or my friends, and because I'm humble about it. I am privileged, but I'm not gonna, like, be selfish about it. I want to be able to help others, and there's gonna be plenty of things I do in my life as a way to help others. I mean, I think that's ultimately, like, almost like a gift that I've been given, and being a selfless person is something I pride myself on, and I know I'm gonna take care of a lot of people.
Amazing. Amazing. It's a huge part of. I think it's a huge part of being a receiver of the universe, if you want to call it the universe.
Yeah.
The people who are, understanding that giving is a big part of getting. Giving is a big part of being here. You know what I mean?
For me, it feels better to give than to receive.
Yeah.
100% without even a question.
Me too. Yeah. Me too, for sure. That's a huge, for real. Even when you don't have it doesn't have to be money.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. It could be your genuine attention. It could be your genuine trust. Your genuine listening to somebody and being that person. But if you're able to give and you're giving without expectation in return, with no expectation as far as what am I getting out of this, I really feel like it puts you in a frequency to receive. It's now your turn. It's a yin and a yang. So if you're able to give to people without expecting, hey, what the hell am I going to get out of this? You know what I mean? Then it's your turn to receive next. You know what I mean?
It just feels the best, right? Like people always ask, like, oh, what did you buy? What car did you get? What house did you move into? Like the thing that, like, if I look back, like since March, since I sold the company, until like what made me feel the best is literally like moving my family out here, getting my brother taken care of, getting, you know what I mean? Getting him a job and making sure my kids are set. That's what literally comes to mind. I'm not trying to paint a better picture. It just is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like going on trips and taking friends with me, and like that feels amazing.
My account,
because everything else you could just like, it's just a thing. You know what I mean? Like, but
all my best memories are from being with the homies and bringing
experiences and taking care of people.
Experiencing it with people that you can actually share it with. And that you value is just so important.
Yeah, share your privilege.
And I see you doing it. I see you doing it. Everyone who's listening, if you guys are in the entrepreneurial space at all or want to, it's a great guy to follow. Your Instagram with Ilya Never Sleeps.
Yeah.
And he's just, it's a fun follow at this point because you're all over the fucking. Where were you? Just in Tulum?
Yeah.
Everyone was out there just getting after it.
People are still there.
I know. I have some friends
half the people didn't leave.
There's just what is there, a music festival and just everyone's just vibing.
Yeah.
It's a special little place out there.
It's a crazy city.
Yeah. What anything else up on the docket as far as traveling? Where you?
I try not to like overplan, overthink, whatever. You know, I think one of the greatest things about success, and I think Warren Buffett may have said that, is to him, success is being able to do what you want, when you want, whenever you want. And that is, to me, is the absolute true philosophy, right?
Facts.
It's so people are like, what's next? What are you planning? I hate planning, you know, and I know it frustrates a lot of people around me that have like regular 9-to-5 jobs, because they're like, well, Ilya, I have to plan. Right. Well, and I hate it because like, I don't want to displease someone, but at the end of the day, I love the freedom. Yeah. You know, and tomorrow, like, I'm gonna plane and go somewhere if I wanted to. You know,
that's part of that. I really think that's part of a lot of people's goals, who actually understand, you know, the real rigors of being alive, like why people have so much trouble navigating everyday life on Earth and in our society is just, like you said, the rules. When you're playing by society's rules, and you know, you got to be up at 8, you got to be at work at 9, and there's traffic, and then you got to get back, and you got to pick up the kid, and it's just like this rat race that you find yourself in. I mean, I feel like the freedom to wake up and do whatever you want. When I wake up, I write down the things I'm grateful for every day. Yeah. And I one of the first things I write is, I'm so thankful for the ability to do what I want today. Yeah. You know, and not many people.
But still be humble about it, right? Like don't be selfish and for sure. You know, the other way. But
yeah, it's earned. It's earned. Yeah. You know what I mean? Obviously there's people who fall into family money or whatever it may be, and have that freedom. But once you experience that freedom, like you said, right away you realize, one of the first things you said today was like, oh, I realized I didn't want to work for anyone else. I don't want to play by the rules. You know, and once you get a taste of that, it's why I do this podcast, man. Yeah. And why I care to have someone like you who, you know, you don't have a fan base who's like, I'm gonna piggyback off, and you know what I mean? I want to shine light on these types of circumstances and situations, so that Joe Schmo in Kansas right now feels like, oh wow, like there's more than this neighborhood that I grew up in, and you know, there's maybe something I could do that will someday allow me the freedom to fucking get on a jet and go somewhere if I want. You know what I mean? And that's what it's about for me. So I appreciate you giving the time. I know you got a lot of free time right now, so it's at least a lot more than you used to having, right? Sure. Yeah. I appreciate you coming. You got to come by and play some fucking beer pong.
It's on.
I
gotta practice. I feel like you have like belts.
This is beer pong headquarters. Yeah. Oh, give us a belt. These are the belts me and Post. So me and Post were like on a bender after one of his shows. I think he just finished his tour, and we were at Hooters. So I called Hooters. It was 7 a.m.
Yeah.
We had to stay up.
Hooters is open at 7 in the morning?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
I called. I called.
Breakfast wings.
I go, I'm with Post Malone. He wants to come in and play beer pong. They go, we're not open till like 11, man. I was like, you're not going to open it for us? Just like about 8 of us. You know, like literally 6 guys, 2 girls, like blackout drunk still. I think they thought we were bullshitting. And then he was like, I was like, dude, why would I call you and then come over there? If Post isn't with us, then you're not going to let us in. You know what I mean? So why would I bullshit you? He's like, all right, come on over. So we go over to Hollywood Boulevard, the Hooters right on Hollywood Boulevard, play beer pong there. This is why I love Post. Dude I was near your house. Dude had a house at the time that was like, he was renting just for the, I think a few weeks. Yeah. Literally one of the most, beautiful little places, like not little, beautiful place, best place to play beer pong, watch the fucking sunrise and have fun. He preferred to go to the top floor of Hooters on Hollywood Boulevard with fucking absolutely zero vibe. Like there was no one there. It was just us. That's why we get along so well. But I love that. This is one of the belts. I'm not even going to hand it to you because you got to earn that.
Oh.
You got to earn
that.
Right.
Look at that.
You can look at it.
There's a lot of challenges here.
You can look at it. You can look at it.
I went to Florida State, so I may have not studied a lot, but
beer pong is one of those games though. Like it's like riding a bike. You know what I mean? Like some people are like, "Oh, dude, I haven't played in like 5 years." But if you ever played and you can come right back.
Yeah, I feel like you get a lot more practice. We'll see.
We do.
All right, challenge accepted.
Ironically, I get more beer pong in my late 20s, early 30s than I did when I was I was a baseball player at Duke. So we played beer pong obviously, but it wasn't like fucking, I'd say here we play, double. Post is almost alarmingly obsessed with beer pong.
Yeah, I think so.
And I'm just kind of going along with the ride, but yeah, this is it. I'll let you hold it.
I don't know. I want to earn it. I don't want to hold it.
And that's the Bellina Cup behind you. Do you see that huge trophy over there?
Wow.
That we hand designed that. We creatively directed that the same day we got these.
Love that.
The ball in a cup. The Bellina Cup.
Obviously.
Makes a lot of sense. Big domain guy. I got that domain.
Ballinacup.com. Mm-hmm. Could I have an email address?
Yeah, of course.
Ilya at Ball in a
Ilya
Cup.
at Ball in a Cup. I think that's your new venture.
Perfect.
Let's call Forbes 30 under 30 and let them know that's Ilya's new.
We're gonna retire. Ilya never sleeps. We're gonna go Ilya Ball in a Cup.
Yeah, I think you gotta earn it. You gotta come over and play. Though.
Let's do it.
Is that a deal?
Deal.
Thanks for coming, bro. I appreciate you. This was extremely informative, and honestly, it's invaluable for like people who might not have access to these conversations. So I appreciate you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.